Hey guys, Dan Hood, Big DH 2000 here. Time for a shop tour. Been doing a lot on the shop recently. Uh, Also acquired some tools from a friend who was shutting down a shop as well. So let's get on through it. Okay, some of you will notice that the toolbox has been relocated. Okay, we'll back up so you guys can kind of get an overview. Okay. Okay. A lot of various tools up here that I don't necessarily use much for slingshots, but have for a variety of other things. Okay. Got some stuff up there that we might still use. A lot of things, just stuff I use to fix stuff around the house. Okay, you'll see the new drill press. Found a home there. A couple other drill presses, clamps everywhere, Dremel bits in that thing. A couple other things. I got some what I call punches down there, but they put letters on. My various scraps of materials, the planer, and you'll notice that the planer is now hooked up to a filtration system or a swirl. Okay, there's the old one that I don't use much anymore, but I still keep it. Did a little bit more work on this table saw, got it up and running. Got a nice bag on the bottom of it. We'll talk about the lathe later. There's a lot of the Slingshot templates. Let's just kind of walk here. Along the way, I ended up with 2 or 3 of these scroll saws. So what I ended up doing is I put different blades on them. As for these 3 drill presses, I predominantly use this one for slow speed stuff and really long stuff. I use this one for just quick and dirty on a lot of stuff I do, and I use this one mainly for polishing. You can see the nozzle there to clean up. Okay, we already talked about the planer behind me. This is where a lot of stuff happens, gluing everything. As you can see, there's a vise there, a couple of Dremels, and of course I'm a father, so I've always got something that needs gluing from the kids. Latest transformer, vacuum chamber, resin setup, vacuum pump, stirrer for the for resin, weight for resin, various additives for resin, some stuff there. 5-gallon pressure chamber. So if you guys ever get into resin and pressure pots, this is I think this is called California Air Tools. All I'm going to tell you is go with the 5-gallon. Don't go with anything smaller, because with a 5-gallon you can take a Homer bucket, cut the top off it and stick it in, and then if anything spills or anything goes wrong, you just pull that Homer bucket out, throw it away, and go buy another one for $2. Okay? Resin. Some of you will notice this is not a full blowtorch. It will do a little blowtorch, but it's a micro torch. Used a lot for soldering, but it's excellent for flaming stuff. Okay? Like flaming acrylic, charring wood, charring handles. You guys know all that kind of stuff. My oven back there, convection, does a lot of stuff. These 2 buckets down here contain a lot of stuff I use when I'm quote unquote the carpenter at Bethlehem Village. Always good to have a pile of old clothes for rags. You guys have seen the bandsaw some time ago. New acquisition here that I mounted is a planer, only 4-inch, but for what I do, that's plenty. I still gotta, what I gotta do is I gotta put a couple hoses on that I can connect to my secondary dust collection over there. But yeah, that's just something I still got to work on. The lathe, all kinds of tools in the drawer. Here, I'll just pull the drawer open for you guys. Okay, still working this out completely. Best thing I did on this lathe, I've obviously got a dust collection system starting and working thanks to my buddy Brian. Got a chuck that he recommended too. Okay, not big. Look, I'll put my hand on it. It's only 4-inch, but reality is I don't need anything super fancy and big. I'm not really huge on doing bowls. Okay, still got to work the plug system out back here because I got to unplug one to plug in the other. You know how it is. But anyway, that's that. Always got to have a big garbage can. Materials, all kinds of them. More materials. Rope, HDPE press stuff, other materials, compressor. Now you can see I told you about getting 2 of these. Okay, I've got a smooth belt on one and a heavy belt on the other, coarse belt on the other. Eventually when my son moves out, sets his own shop up, or if my daughter, whichever, one of them's going to go with them. My thickness planer. And for those who don't know, my hose sits here because I do a lot of my sanding right here. And I'll just step back. You can see routers in the corner. Oh, get my hand out of the way. The 2 mini tables over there got little Ryobi trim routers on them. You can see all the dust collection system. And then underneath the table is a 3 horsepower beast that I don't use too often, but I do once in a while. You see the little sander there? I use that a fair amount too because I can control the speed on that better. You can see all the materials up there for sanding, for charging, you name it, it's there. More stuff that I use. The Focus, the spindle sander. You can see the orbital sanders up there, the electric ones, which I don't use very much down there. And then the air ones up there that I use a ton. Okay. Rockwell Blade Runner. Don't use it too much. Few things down here that don't get used very often, including which is coming in the future, a miniature anvil. I'm slowly branching into some of that kind of stuff. Blades. Now let's walk on through. One thing you guys will notice the lighting's way better. I'm just going to go quickly up. I got one of those LED spaceship things. Kept seeing them advertised. Well, let's look. Here's more stuff. More clamps. More clamps. Bigger clamps. In the back. You know. Bar clamps, all kinds of gluing and whatnot down there. And you'll notice that I always keep an old rag laying across the top of this. After it gets a little nasty, throw it away, put a new one on. You can see I got bar plugs. I don't run everything at once, so it won't blow the fuse, or excuse me, you guys only know it as circuit breakers, a lot of you. Couple of handy dandy things. Courtesy of my son. A couple of other things. My well-worn apron that needs to be replaced. Walk on through here. You see the little alcove here under the stairs. Do a lot of polishing here. Metal polishing over there. Blade sharpening there. Blade sharpening there. And clear in the back, another blade sharpener. A lot of stuff down there related to that. We won't even go through it. Okay. Setup table here. That's all the targets I take to events. I keep them in there. We pull them out, use them when we're here, and then put them back in. All the binding post system in that thing right there. And yes, that's a food tray. We got the dust collection here. Slingshot, slingshots. Knife forge. And yes, we'll get to that someday. Projects in the works, all up and down there. Natural forks, drying, dried, various other materials, still clearing that out slowly. All kinds of postage stuff, various other things for postage and whatnot. For when I put in tap and dies. It's an old ammo sorter. We'll go out here and see just a variety of things we use for slingshots. My son and I get in this all the time. Our slingshot table, where we lay out stuff to use while we're here. Here you go. Some starships. More material stashed up there. Some stuff for the house. The shooters that we use a little more regularly, he and I. That's exclusively his. Right there. He has a variety of things for slingshots, and yes, that's a whip. Here's his and my grab and go bags whenever we want to take off. We moved the banding table out here away from all the mess in the back of the shop. That case right there, someday I'm going to do a whole thing on that, but that's got all my firsts from the various people I've collected them for. The 2 bins are 3/4 packed, ready to go. You can see our fire pit back there that we sometimes carry out. Those are ready to go to a tournament. We're still working on this table. Eventually we're going to move that screen. That works the laser in the background. You can see it. You've seen me post some pictures about it. We're still figuring that out, and surprisingly he's doing pretty good on it. My wife's getting interested in it too, because they can both program on their computers and then come out and see it. This is actually a little empty right now, this shelf, because everything that's supposed to be in it, half of it is going to the Slingshot event coming up. We'll step back here so you guys kind of recognize that, and you recognize the range. Okay, so let's walk down the range. Another table saw. Still need 1 or 2 pieces to refurbish it, or to finish off the refurbishment. It's in great shape. Just 1 or 2 parts could stand to be replaced. Like I said, this is the one that'll go with either my son or daughter, whichever gets a workshop first. Chop saw. One thing I did do was I put it on wheels. This came with the joiner, and I didn't want the joiner on that, so I put this on it instead. You can see more slingshots in my collection, and yes, those are the shoe holder things you can put over the back of your closet. Got some arrows, got some bow, got a few things in there. Got materials, a biscuit joiner down there, the shop vac over here, the lighting for the range, personal stuff back here, personal stuff back there, range in the middle, and yes, that's a mattress behind it for protection with a blanket hanging in front of it. That is the pile going to the slingshot tournament, the center of it being the fan. Probably take the rocket stove. I don't think we're going to take the beanbag toss. Boy and I are working on setting up a turtle enclosure because he wants to get a turtle. So we're slowly getting there. Okay. And before any of you have a panic attack, that's organic potting soil mix, perfectly safe for the turtle. My old lathe, which already has a new home spoken for, just hasn't been picked up. A couple of things we still got to get rid of. But anyway, guys, let me just kind of give you one more walk around. Okay. And these 5-gallon buckets everywhere are to pick up, are for trash. I found the more you put up, the more people use them, the easier it is to keep the place clean. Anyway, look back there, you can see how bright it is. Anyway, guys, I hope this doesn't take long. If you got any questions, post them below. Thanks for visiting the shop. Hope you like it.